Hello, Starbro. My name is Esme Leilani, and you can call me Ozzy. Today, I am creating a video encyclopedia for a Reddit user who, on one of the subreddits, requested a breakdown on cosmetics, what the cosmetics are, and how are they used. Since I am a experienced makeup artist as well as a skintellectual, I decided to take this little task upon myself, and I'm going to be making a few videos, a series, if you will, about cosmetics, how they're used, and what they are meant to be doing. Now we're going to break it into the skin prep today, as well as foundation, concealer, and setting mists, so that we can get a lot of information, but deliver it in a concise way that is easy to understand, which is my biggest goal. Because makeup is subjective, because it is dependent on trends, and it also depends on our facial features as well as our skin types, which are inherent to us. I'm not going to get into my personal preferences, nor am I going to give tips on how to apply the makeup. There are lots of videos online that's going to teach you how to apply makeup for your face shape. I really love Dear Peachy. I think Dear Peachy has an excellent rundown of how to apply makeup, especially everyday makeup for a beginner. But it's really going to be more about what does this product do, and what is this product, and what does it do, and in what order do I apply it in. So thank you for staying tuned. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please feel free to subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss out on any updates. On the Esme Show, we focus on self-growth, aesthetics, as well as metaphysics. So you can find philosophy, you can find skincare. It's kind of a little hodgepodge right there. I don't really have a niche, but it is all about me. And those are some of my special interests. So feel free to click subscribe to stay tuned for the Esme Show's video encyclopedia of makeup and how to use it. So let's get started. First things first, obviously you're going to want to start on a clean face. Everyone will tell you their favorite facial wash. There's always a new one that you can find at the store. Honestly, you do you. Facial cleansers are just meant to clean the skin from any debris. What I'm going to give you guys a little heads up on is if you want your makeup to look really good, you're going to want to invest in a decent exfoliator. So I have two exfoliators here. I have the Elemis Superfood Blackcurrant Jelly Exfoliator. This is a physical exfoliant. That means that it's got little nubbins in it. It's got little seeds from the blackberries, and it's got a really nice jelly texture. You can add a little bit of this to your basic cleanser, so it can give you some physical exfoliation, and that's going to give you a rough texture that is going to rub the dead skin off your face. Okay, this is my second pick. I personally am not a big fan of physical exfoliators because you can do better. What I really love is the Image Vitamin C Hydrating Enzyme Mask. I like this mask a lot. The reason I like this mask is because it's perfect for all skin types. It doesn't matter if you're normal, it doesn't matter if you're oily, it doesn't matter if you have acne or not. The enzymes in this product are going to dissolve, brighten, and even the skin tone. It is hydrating, so it's not going to leave you tight and bothered. It features pineapple and papaya fruit extracts to gently dissolve the layers of dead skin, and you can just feel it. You can feel it. It works. It's beautiful. It has a really beautiful, bright, sunny scent, and it contains antioxidants as well as vitamins to nourish your skin. I really like this mask a lot. A little bit goes a long way because this is a professional product. You can purchase this in the smaller tube. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use like a dime-sized amount all over your face, thinly spread out. Wait about 10 to 15 minutes, and you're going to get a wonderful smooth texture to your skin, and that's going to allow your skin to hold on to the makeup really well and not have patchiness all over, which is super important. Next, we're going to get into serums. You can use a basic niacinamide serum if you're oily, if you have a lot of congestion. A lot of people like niacinamide. I do too. This one is the Well People Pore Detox Refining Niacinamide Serum. This is going to brighten your skin complexion. It's also going to decongest your pores, especially around the T-zone area, and it's going to help to balance oiliness all over your complexion. If you want extreme brightness, if you have dark spots that you're trying to conquer, I recommend the Image Skincare Illuma Intense Brightening Serum. I do use these serums every day. I'm really simple with my skincare because I'm a trained esthetician, so it's really important for me to keep things simple and also make sure that the products that I'm offering to clients and using myself actually work. The Image Illuma line is really great for brightening, and I really like this serum because a little bit goes a long way. These are professional grade formulas, so you're going to be able to just use a tiny dot all over the face, and I like this one because sometimes vitamin C serum can make my skin itch. Honestly, this one does not make my skin itch. It's got powerful plant-based brighteners and a stable form of vitamin C to help reduce the appearance of dark spots. And I have acne. You can't see it because I'm on camera and I have a full face of makeup on, but I have dealt with really dark spots, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I have cystic acne. So this really helps to keep my skin looking even toned. I really like this serum. Finally, moisturizers. Moisturizer is really important to give a smooth appearance to the skin when you're applying makeup. Right now, I'm using the Well People Fresh Dew Snow Mushroom Moisturizer. As you can see, this is a well-loved tube. I like the scent, and I also like the texture of it. It's like got a gel texture to it. I have normal type skin, so I need to give my skin oil and a little bit of moisture, water. So oil-based moisturizers, creams, are not necessarily going to moisturize your skin. They're gonna they're gonna keep everything smooth, but sometimes you need a little bit of both. And sometimes with combination skin that's oily in some spots, skin that's dry in some spots, you might need to use two different types of moisturizer. You know, use the water-based moisturizer where you're oily in the T-zone area, and then on the cheeks where you're a little drier, you can use a heavier cream. So the heavy cream that I like is not that heavy at all, and I also use this as a makeup primer. This is the Embryolisse Light Cream Fluid Moisturizer. It's got multi-functions. You can use this as face and body cream. You can use this also as a cleansing milk, a little bit mixed with water can be used to remove your makeup. I use this as a hydration mask as well as a makeup primer. I just put a generous amount all over my skin. I don't rub it in too much. I let it sit like a mask. It absorbs, and then I put my makeup over it. Some people like to use Vaseline as a primer. This does work as a primer. One of the famous people who use Vaseline as a primer is Marilyn Monroe. A little bit on your hands, pat, pat, pat. Don't smear it on. A little on your hands, pat, pat, pat. And you can use this as a primer if you have dry skin. And I don't know if you've ever put your makeup on before, go take a nap, and then come up from your nap and you notice, wow, my makeup looks really great. It's because the oils in your skin will allow the matte products to marry into your skin, and it kind of creates a beautiful canvas for your skin to absorb that makeup. So this can also be used a little bit at a time, but some people with drier skin are going to prefer to use a little bit of Vaseline. Now, people with oilier skin may benefit from using a powder. Now, this is something that I don't hear many people doing, but you definitely can do this. Here I have the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil Setting Powder. And the reason why I use the mineral veil powder is because it has a very simple ingredients list. We're talking cornstarch and a few other things. I think it's less than 5 ingredients in here. You can use this powder as a primer. Essentially, follow your skincare steps. Make sure to cleanse your face, exfoliate, apply a decent serum, moisturize, and then after the moisturizer, most people know to use sunscreen. We're not going to get into sunscreen because honestly, I can make a different video about that. It's going to take a really long time to explain sunscreen because a lot of people have trouble with sunscreen. Use the powder after you've moisturized. Buff it on with a clean brush, not the brush that you're going to use for your foundation, a clean brush. Buff it on, and if you have oily skin, this might work as a decent primer for you. Interestingly enough, I don't hear a lot of people using powder as primer, but you can. Now, for my girls with foundation issues due to acne, I have another little trick up my sleeve. If you have acne that is hot and shiny, cystic acne that repels foundation, and no matter how much of foundation you apply, concealer you apply, it's not staying on top of that pimple, I recommend that you use an eyeshadow primer on top of that spot. Now, eyeshadow primer has a velvety texture and it has a dry texture. What's amazing about eyeshadow primer is that it can actually help keep the foundation on top of a hot, shiny pimple. If the skin is really shiny and hot to the touch and it's just repelling your foundation because it's a cystic acne that's very angry, you're not going to want to play with it too much. I don't recommend you pile on more foundation on top of it. Instead, grab yourself a clear eyeshadow primer, dab your spot, and then apply your foundation after it dries. And that's going to create a velvety smooth texture that's going to hold on to the product and not create a visible line of demarcation, a spot where you can see like, oh wow, it's cakey around there. That might help you. I also have used the Too Faced glitter glue in extreme situations where my skin is not holding on to its foundation because I have an acne spot that's very angry. So that's something that you can look forward to as well. There are different textures. The NARS is more velvety smooth. The glitter glue is a little more tacky, but that tacky energy is going to keep your foundation on in those hard to treat areas. So now that we've gone over skin prep, I want to go over setting and finishing sprays. I have two options here. I have the Elemis Superfood Kefir Tea Mist. This mist is multi-purpose. You can use this as a liquid primer. You can also use this as a finishing spray. So when you're done with your makeup, you can give yourself a spritz and it's going to help to hold your makeup on while refreshing your skin tone. So, you know, you don't look cakey, essentially. If you want something that's more intense, that's really going to hold your makeup on through a hot and heavy night or a wedding, you're going to want to use the Urban Decay All-Nighter Spray. This is a long-lasting makeup setting spray. It does not work as a primer in my opinion, but I do spray this on eyeshadow brushes sometimes when I want a more intense color payoff for my eyeshadow. Everyone knows about this stuff. This is one of the best-selling setting sprays in the world. The only difference is that this one doesn't have skincare benefits. And because of the ingredients list, I highly recommend that you spray away from your face. If you have to, spray your face directly. Cover your nose. Don't inhale this spray. There are ingredients in this list that honestly are not my favorite due to potential health concerns. I don't want to get too much into it because I'm not a cosmetic chemist, but I try not to breathe this stuff in personally. If you're into ingredients, you can look it up and I'm sure you'll find out. But this one is full of yummy skin ingredients and it also works as a primer. So you can use this when you're doing like a basic look. You can just spritz, spritz, spritz. And we're going to get into when to spray. So for all intensive purposes, the Elemis Superfood Kefir Tea Mist is a calming and hydrating mist that also works as a primer. It's a finishing spray and a starting spray, but not a setting spray. This stuff is meant to lock everything in. We can think of this as like hairspray for your foundation, okay? So we're going to use this at different times. Now let's imagine that we have washed our face, we've exfoliated, we have our serum, we've used our moisturizing primers. We are going to now start our makeup. Our skin is prepped and we're ready to start our makeup. We are going to spray the hydrating spray and we're going to work with not wet but damp skin. And the reason why we want to work with damp skin is because that helps product adhere and it also keeps things smooth. You don't want to be drippy. A little bit goes a long way, but make sure your skin is as hydrated as possible so everything stays really smooth. Let's get into the first layer. The first layer of makeup depends on what effect you're trying to create. We have different types of foundations here. Let's get into the liquid ones first. Liquid foundations are having a moment right now, especially in a skin tint formula. One of my favorite skin tints, as you can tell because it's almost empty. I do have a new bottle waiting for me, but this one is almost completely empty, is the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. This one has 0.5% bakuchiol, which is a natural form of a retinoid, as well as hyaluronic acid, I believe. And this one is really, really lightweight. This does have a dewy finish to it, so it's going to leave your skin almost a little bit glowy. And a little bit goes a long way. It does not cover intensely. I've heard people say that this is a dupe for Chanel water tint. I've never tried the Chanel water tints, but this does not cover a lot of spots. Now, for someone like me that honestly, to tell you the truth, I've worked so hard on removing the spots from my skin, this works just fine. But I do like to cover it with a higher coverage product. And we'll get into that after I finish with the liquids. We also have the BioTint SPF 30 Tinted Moisturizer. Forgive the dirtiness of these things. Like, I use these products, so they're going to get messed up. This is not my favorite. We talked about sunscreen a little bit. You do not really want to rely on a foundation to offer your sun protection. And the reason why is because, plain and simple, you're not going to use enough of this product because it's going to create cake face in your foundation to warrant sun protection. A little dab, a little dab, a little dab, a little dab, a little dab is not enough sun protection. You need 3 to 4 fingers worth. I've got little fingers, so I use 4 fingers worth for the entire décolletage, neck, ears, and face. The skin of your face ends at your nipples. The reason why skin on the face and décolletage is thinner and finer is because the skin of your décolletage and your face are attached directly to the muscles of your face and neck. That means that we really need to protect these areas with sun protection so that the collagen in these areas don't break down as fast. You want to protect the skin of the décolletage, the ears, and the face from sunspots. That means less work for you with makeup. That means anti-aging benefits. You're not going to use that much foundation to give you the protection from the sun that you need. On top of that, a lot of the sunscreen tints that I've used are very creamy, almost a little cakey. I do not like this product. The reason why is because I don't like the texture. It's a little difficult to work with. It's a little chalky. It gives cake. I'm not happy with that. So if you're using this as your sun protection, you're going to be really covered in this stuff, right? I don't know if that's as good of a fit as you think it is, Missy. I don't know about that, but these are sometimes popular with some types of people. Use it if you want to, or don't. It's up to you, but I think you could do better personally. I highly recommend you keep your sunscreen and your foundation separate. Finally, we have liquid foundations. This is the MAC Studio Face and Body Foundation. This is considered a buildable foundation. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. You shake it up really good. You give yourself a little dribble and you smear it on. Let it sit. Let it cook. It's going to get thick. When you pour it on your hand, you're going to be like, this stuff is so watery. That's good. That means that it's going to blend out beautifully. It's so beautiful, in my opinion. I love this stuff. Some people don't like it. Some people do. That's okay. This is a buildable foundation, and that's why I like it. A little bit goes a long way. I can do sheer, I can do medium, and I could do full coverage. But I know that once this stuff is on, it does not go anywhere, and it blends beautifully. I also really like MAC because they do a lot of work on undertones and overtones. There's a lot of variation in our skin tones, and you can get the product that best suits your complexion, and you can get help at the MAC counters to get that perfect complexion for yourself. So I'm using C5. I have a golden olive tone. I have a cool undertone as well as a warm overtone. So it might look like I have a warm skin tone, but actually I have a neutral skin tone, and that's why I like this stuff. You can find it in exactly the color that you need. You can build it up. You can buff it in a little more to get more coverage. I personally, I use it with my hands. I smear it on, let it sit for a few minutes, and then I rub with my hands, and the heat of my hands blends it out beautifully, and I don't have any problems with it. After it's set, it's just, it stays, and it's a little waterproof too, in my opinion, which I really like. All right, so those are liquid foundations. There are other liquid foundations that are super popular. If you like a really, really, really full coverage, I know that the Lancome Teint Idole is really popular. That is going to be a full coverage foundation, as my mom would say, plain spackle. That's spackle. You just smear it on, and it's almost mask-like. You can cover all sorts of imperfections with that one. Another one that's really popular is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time going over what foundation to choose. Instead, I want to highlight sheer, buildable, medium, and full coverage. Everyone does not need the same foundation. You don't need the same foundation every day. I have a buildable foundation collection because honestly, I sometimes like sheer, sometimes I like medium, and very rarely am I going to go for full coverage because I work on my skin so much that I don't need full coverage. Now, that's not going to necessarily be the case for somebody else who has a lot of discoloration or a lot of acne. So choose your foundation based on your needs, not the current trends. Next, we have cream foundations. This is my favorite cream foundation. This is the CoverGirl Plus Olay Simply Ageless Broad Spectrum SPF 28 foundation. It's got tinted titanium dioxide, hyaluronic acid, and vitamin C. Now, remember, I don't care what it says on the package. You see, I use a little spatula to scoop out product, and then I add a few drops of my MAC. I blend it on a little palette, and it's perfect for me. Cream foundation is really forgiving for aging skin. It's really forgiving because it helps to moisturize. It creates a beautiful canvas, and it doesn't really settle in fine lines. When I blend these out properly, I get a beautiful velvety finish that looks like skin. It doesn't budge throughout the day, and I mean it when I say I'm a big nap taker, and I do take naps in my makeup, and I come up and I don't have caking around the nostrils. I don't have caking around the fine lines of my mouth. Now, someone with more textured skin, more mature skin, they're going to want a velvety smooth complexion product that offers coverage that isn't going to settle into the fine lines of the skin. And I do like the Simply Ageless line by CoverGirl for doing that. My biggest gripe with them is that they have the most terrible color ranges. Now, I usually use Soft Honey. In the essence, I use medium. This one's medium tan. It's not plain medium. Yes, it's regular medium. Sorry. There's light to medium and regular medium and then medium tan. I use regular medium. I will say that this is not the right undertone because the titanium dioxide, which are those white swirls, that sunscreen, it ruins the undertone. It comes out too pink and too light for me. So I do have to add a few drops of the MAC. Take out a little scoop. Add a little bit of, 2 drops of this to one little spatula. I use this is my spatula that I use. I use a little spatula and I put it on my palette and I mix them together on my palette, and then I use the flat side of my palette to spread evenly all over my face. They blend beautifully together. This stuff is gold. I love this stuff, and this stuff provides a really gorgeous finish that doesn't cake up. So I'm really happy with these products for myself. I would say, unfortunately, this doesn't come in a lot of colors. So if you're in a skin tone range where you can find a color that matches you in this product, go ahead, try it out. But that's not the point. This is not a brand recommendation. This is a cream formula recommendation. Regardless of the brand, I know Hourglass has some beautiful cream sticks. Bobbi Brown has some beautiful cream sticks as well. One of my favorite products, the Lancome Dual Purpose Powder Compact, can be used both wet and dry to create a beautiful cream finish, as well as dry to create a soft matte glow. You can mix and match brands, but just find a beautiful cream that matches your skin color, undertones, and overtone that is going to look good on you and lay beautifully on your complexion. Overtone and undertone sound tricky. What does that mean? What that means is that the base color of our skin, like you see how I have a pretty little peachy glow to my skin, is not necessarily the only color that is prevalent in your skin tone. When you flip my arm upside down, you can see I'm olive. I have green in me. So I have a golden green complexion. And you might not be able to see the green, but an experienced makeup artist is going to see the green and they're going to say, you are not warm toned, you are neutral tone, because you got a little bit of warmth and you got a little bit of cool in you. And it's going to give you a neutral tone. So olives are really hard to find products for. If you are like me, you can follow my recommendations for products. If you have something similar to my skin tone, you can also find on Reddit. There's a beautiful subreddit for olive girlies who have trouble finding their skin products. I highly recommend going to an esthetician or going to a makeup artist that you trust. You don't have to go to Sephora because Sephora can sometimes be a little stressful for people. Go to the Lancome counter. Go to the Macy's Lancome counter. Go to the Macy's MAC counter and see if you can find someone who's willing to sit you down. I love MAC for this, and talk to you about overtones and undertones. What tones you see on the surface do not always reflect the tones that you see underneath. So, you know, some people say, look at your veins. Are they blue, green? Sometimes that works for people. Sometimes it doesn't. I find that people who are olive like me, like you can see in the computer, I look a little bit golden, but I also have a slight greenish cast to me. I'm a dark winter. You might think I have a warm skin tone, but actually cool colors suit me better. See, I don't drown in black. I have a lot of black on, but that contrast matches my features beautifully. So, you know, the colors that you have undertone and overtone are going to work together to create a fluid. It is fluid. Your skin tone can change during the seasons. Some people's skin tone changes because of rosacea, pregnancy. It's gonna create a flux, and it's important to constantly understand what products are right for you at what given time. And so it does sometimes behoove a person to play around with products and don't take trends seriously. Literally a few years ago, around 2015, 2016, everybody and their mother had a yellow foundation. I looked so terrible. People would literally tell me, you say you're a makeup artist, but look at how bad your makeup is. Girl, I was suffering. They were putting bright yellow foundation on me, and I'm not yellow. I'm a golden olive neutral tone. And it was just, listen, we live and we learn, right? We live and we learn. So don't be afraid to ask for samples. Don't be afraid to get your makeup done at the Lancome counter. Go one day and get your makeup done at the Lancome counter. Go the other day and get your makeup done at the MAC counter. Play with the products, but I do prefer MAC and Lancome because Lancome, one, their products, they don't change out their products often. You know, you can trust that the products that you fall in love with at Lancome, they're going to always be there. You're gonna always get the product that you like. Same with MAC. MAC did reformulate a lot of their products to not include talc. That is a health concern to a lot of people because you put this makeup on your nose, you inhale it, it does eventually get into your lungs, and there is enough scientific research to suggest that talc is dangerous for our health. So, you know what? Let's trust them that they're able to make these formulas beautiful for us while not impacting our health. So for powders, getting into that, I use two different powders. One pressed powder. I have finishing powders and I have setting powders, and we're going to get into that now. So when I have a deep contrast to my skin during the summertime, I've gotten some color. I like the Bare Minerals Golden Beige. This is just evidence that, you know, depending on your skin tone, you might need one or two products. I'm not using Golden Beige right now. I am really washed out from the winter time. I haven't gotten any color yet. This is still a good match for me, but right now I'm using Medium by Bare Minerals, and that is the only foundation that I have on my face. I'm not even using concealer. I love Bare Minerals Original foundation. This is the medium beige in shade 12. It's got SPF 15 in it. We are not relying on our foundations to offer protection, but I'm going to tell you something interesting. You know that blue light that they talk about? Your screens are going to cause aging because the light, the blue light. Did you know that your foundation can actually protect against that? Okay, so there's our benefit to wearing foundation. When we go out to the store, we are driving, our foundation can actually protect our skin by acting as a blanket for impurities. So wearing foundation is protective to the skin, and mineral foundation works as an excellent absorber of blue light, so you can protect your skin from blue light damage. This is medium beige. I like to wear this during the winter and the spring. It gives me a gorgeous pearlized look. I wish I could get close up. The reason I like this stuff is because it does not cake around the nostrils. It covers, it's simple formula, it's a cosmetically elegant formula. This has, I think, 7 ingredients. I think this one has 7 ingredients in it. And I love that. I love that it's very simple. I do sometimes fall asleep in this stuff. I'm a huge napper. And I like this, that it doesn't clog my pores and it doesn't give me acne. When I had really bad cystic acne, putting liquid foundation on was like covering a granola bar in yogurt. It was terrible. It was terrible. I had such a horrible time with those high coverage foundations. I started using Bare Minerals original foundation when I was healing my skin from severe cystic acne. I had level 3, level 4 cystic acne. It was terrible. I was allergic to some of the medications I was prescribed, and it jacked my skin up terribly. So that's when I started using Bare Minerals. And they do come in 2 different formulas. There's the regular matte, which is like a demi-matte skin-like finish, and then there's the luminous foundations. You want to make sure that you're getting color tested appropriately because there is some color discrepancies between the 2 lines. Just saying. I used to work at that store. I know for a fact because I used to work there. Now we have the original Mineral Veil. This is a translucent powder. I would not consider this a setting powder. This is a finishing powder. And then we have the tinted Mineral Veil. So there is some color differences, and I'm going to show you in the lids. And this is important. This is important because you're going to want to make sure you get the best match for yourself. And this is the lid of the original. You can see it's a translucent color, and there is the tinted. So when I get some tone to me after going to the beach a few times or going to the pool, I'm going to make sure to be reaching for my tinted Mineral Veil and my golden beige that fits my golden olive complexion. But for now, before the sun has come out, before the summer fun has started, I feel confident using medium beige. And this is a completely different tone. It's a completely different tone. Look at that. And this goes to show the variation in our natural skin. There's nothing wrong with accepting the different variations in our natural skin tone. So this is what I'm wearing today. And this is what I wear in the summer. Playing around for quite some time when you're looking for your foundation, I would not recommend, maybe find a formula that really works for you, but I would not recommend settling on just one foundation if you really want a match that's going to work with you throughout the seasons. Take the time to find out how your skin looks during the summer, spring, winter. How does your skin look when it's indoors versus outdoors? How does your skin look when you get hot? How does your skin look when you get cold? These are things to take into consideration when you're choosing your foundations. So, finishing powders. What do they do? What's the difference between a finishing powder and a setting powder? Here's a mini of the translucent Laura Mercier setting powder. The difference is that one smooths out the look of the foundation, the other one sets the foundation in place. Essentially, they have different formulas. Everyone loves this stuff. I love this stuff. I love this stuff on top of concealer. I use this right after I apply my Bare Minerals. I buff it in with the kabuki brush, and then I go in with this. And why? It just creates a beautiful texture. They marry together to create a beautiful velvety texture that is perfect for the next step in my foundation routine. Concealer. One of the things about the Bare Minerals products is that the Bare Mineral products look like powder, but actually they're kind of creamy. When you blend them in with the kabuki brush, you sprinkle a little bit into the lid and then you swirl, dip, swirl, and tap. You want to dip the brush, swirl the brush, count to like 15, and then tap off the excess onto the lid and then buff in circles. Where you put the brush first is where it's going to get the heaviest concentration of color. So if you re-dip, swirl, and tap, don't push the brush where you just put it first. Find a different spot to put it on so you can get an even wash of color across the face, or else you're going to get more concentrated color in one spot and not enough coverage on the rest of the face. These are actually very creamy. This one has a cornstarch base, so it creates an airy, velvety finish, and it marries into the Bare Minerals foundation to create a very smooth effect. Personally, I have beautiful confidence with these products because they create really lovely effects on the skin. I really like them. I also really like the MAC. This is the Studio Fix Plus Foundation. This is a pressed powder. This shade is very light, but it's got the right undertone for me. So sometimes olive toned people or people with more complicated skin tones, something that's, for instance, if you're very fair, you might benefit from finding a foundation that's a little bit lighter for your skin if you can find it, and then finding a powder to put over it that's a little bit darker, but the right undertones for you. And then they'll marry together and create the right tones. I know it's interesting to say, but you can mix and match these things. You don't have to pick the same foundation and the same powder, because sometimes if you layer them like that, you can create a mask that's one shade too dark because it's too matchy-matchy. So this is actually a little too dark for me. It's sheer and it's buildable, but it's the right undertone for me. And this one is the right undertone for me, but it's a little bit too pale. You can tell it's a little too pale. When I put this on first and then I put this on, no one can tell because the undertones are correct and they marry together to create a beautiful image. And that's really all that matters. So that's why it's helpful to find someone who can help you choose the right undertones, and you can explain to them, I'm really fair, or I think I'm olive and I'm having trouble matching the powder to the foundation. Anything that's liquid or cream needs to get set with powder or it's going to move. I have a lot of confidence in this stuff. This stuff doesn't move, but this stuff does. So let's just hold on to the facts that if it's liquid or cream, it's going to slide off unless you set it with powder. You don't have to have cake face. I wish that I could get close up and personal with you. Right now, I don't have a lot of experience with filming, so I wouldn't feel comfortable maybe I can. There's no cake face, baby. Right here, you're looking for cake. You're looking for product buildup that's getting into the fine lines. Honestly, people are gonna look at me and be like, "What fine lines?" Listen, I understand. Not everyone's skin texture is the same. Take the time to find the products that work best for you with the undertones of your skin that fit the season that your skin is in, and learn how to layer them. Sometimes that means choosing a liquid that's a little darker and a powder that's a little lighter so that you can create the image that is the most cohesive for you, because you can do that. Now, Black women usually have a lot of hyperpigmentation, and they know that they're going to have to choose maybe 2-3 different colors to create the cohesive look that they want. This is why drag makeup was so instrumental to the makeup industry, is because they are the ones that pioneered these techniques. So do not be afraid to go out and try products in different places. That means if you have spots here and you got spots here and you got dark under eye circles here, you might need 2, 3, or 4 different products to cover that. If you just use one product, it might create gray marks. It might create like a gray ambiance on those dark spots. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how to deal with that. We're going to get into concealers now. Now that we've gotten into, one more finishing powder. So this is the MAC Mineralized Finishing Powder. It usually comes in a compact, but mine broke. So I put it in this compact, this other MAC compact that I had for another powder foundation. This stuff is so gorgeous. If you want a beautiful pearlized finish to your skin, another product that people like is the Hourglass finishing powders. I've never tried the Hourglass products. I'm a MAC girl. The Mineralized, this one's called Medium Plus. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So once you've done your foundation, you give it a little bit of powder. Make sure to give an even application all over the skin, and you can count on having a beautiful finish to your skin. Now, the steps that you apply these products in is what's really important. So let's go over that. Let's say we've already done our skincare. We're ready to rumble. Our skincare is done. If you're not sure the order to put your skincare on, you can refer to the beginning of this video that goes over cleanse, exfoliate, serum, moisturize, prime. Prime is going to act like a grippy layer to hold everything together. So we're going to first put on our liquid or our cream. You know, that can be a skin tint, that can be a buildable foundation, that can be a cream foundation. You don't want to dip the brush into these guys. You want to take a little spatula and apply it into the dish and then use a brush or a spatula to smear it out. Over application is the biggest mistake, honestly. A little goes a long way with these things. Then after we have applied one coat of foundation, depending on your foundation, you might want to set it. If I'm using my Bare Minerals, I feel very confident using Mineral Veil to set my foundation. If not, feel free to grab that Elemis priming hydrating spray that we talked about. Or you can use the all-nighter spray if you want something that's really going to grip that foundation to your skin. Give it a spray. Let it set. Let it sit for a minute. Then we're going to go in with our second layer, and that's going to be concealers. Concealers come in a few different formats. This one is the NARS Medium 1.25 in Toffee. This is a perfect color for me to conceal any under eye circles or any dark spots in my skin. It's got a peachy undertone. My skin tone shade is Tiramisu, but my corrective shade is Toffee. This is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Dark Spots Corrector Plus Serum. This is a perfect shade for me to correct on top of this. So this essentially cancels out any darkness and any grayness. This is really great if I just want to brighten my under eye. Because it's the color. It's not the formula, it's the color. This color, this milky beige color, works really great for brightening the parts of my face that I want to stand out. The peachy tone of this formula is really great for canceling out any darkness that I might be experiencing in my complexion. The formula textures matter a lot too. Now, honestly, this soft matte foundation, I find it a little inappropriate to go under the eyes. A lot of people have texture under the eyes. This is a drier formula. That's why I don't like it under the eyes. That's why I like my serum. This is like a really soft, velvety, gel-like finish. You know, it's very soft and liquid. It comes with a beautiful doe foot, and I like the little brush that it has on top. This hydrating formula makes it very easy to use under the eyes. This dry formula makes it great on top of pimples that might be hot and irritated and shiny, or dark spots on the skin that I want to conceal. You can get this in a bunch of shades. This one, I'm not sure how many shades it comes in, honestly, but this comes in a lot of shades. They also make a radiant foundation, concealer. Sorry, a radiant concealer. NARS makes a radiant concealer that's similar to this one. That's really popular as well. It is a little pricey though, so take that into consideration. So after we've concealed, we can use our setting powder. That's the Laura Mercier setting powder. This stuff everyone loves. You can very easily find this stuff at any Ulta or makeup boutique that you like, Sephora. This stuff you want to use to set under the eye. And some people use a powder puff. Some people use a brush. But this stuff is really great for locking in that second layer of concealer and keeping them in place so it doesn't create cakiness around the under eye or around the nose or wherever else you've applied that second layer of concealer. Personally, people put concealer on at different times. I tend to put my concealer on after I've put on foundation. Why? Because I don't have a lot to conceal. Plain and simple, I've worked so hard on my skin that I don't have that much to conceal anymore, and that's a great thing. But if you do have a lot of concealing, to do, if you have large spots, large acne spots, or large areas of hyperpigmentation, you might want to take that color correcting concealer that's got that peachy orangey tone to it that's going to cancel out any darkness. Or if you have a lot of redness, you might want to use a green concealer. A little bit goes a long way. I know Sephora makes, at the Sephora Collection brand, they have some really great color correcting concealers. You can use that underneath your foundation to get the most legwork out of your foundation products. As for brightening, we're going to do that on top of foundation because it's going to brighten. So we're going to put that on top. A little bit goes a long way. So where I put it depends on my face shape, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of doing gigantic triangles. I really am not. A dot and a swipe. A dot and a swipe. That's really all you need. All right. Now, after that's done, you're going to want to go in with your all-nighter setting spray and spray it again. This stuff acts like hairspray for your facial products. So if you're going to be out and about and you want it to last all day, honestly, go ahead and do it. But if you're like me and you like a more lived-in look, you like something that's a little more deconstructed, I'm going to blow your mind. Take a little bit of facial oil. This is my favorite facial oil. This one is the Milk Makeup Hydrating Oil. My lever broke, so I have to take my little spatula and get a dab out. But I love this stuff. I use about this much. It's a dry oil. Rub it between my hands and apply. It's no secret that when you take a nap in your makeup, the heat of your skin and the natural oils of your skin tend to make your foundation look beautiful. Another trick to do is to put your makeup on and then go take a shower. The humidity of the shower will help to blend the makeup into your skin, and it kind of melts into your skin and gives the best image. This Milk makeup stick creates that ambiance immediately. I love this stuff. This stuff will not break your foundation up. I have used this with so many different types of foundations, but what it does do is reduce that dry cakiness that is often present when you've applied powders and creams and now you look like a little overdone up. Baby, take a little bit of that oil and pat it on. A little goes a long way. Gentle pats. You do not have that problem anymore, especially around the that's my trick for achieving a smooth nose crease with my foundation. So I think we're almost done. There's only one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that is cushion foundations. Cushion foundations are very, very popular. They came from Korea. It's like a sponge and it's filled with a very serum-y type of liquid, and you pat it on. Personally, I don't have any of them. The reason why is because they're very expensive and they don't last very long. And I don't like to spend my money on things that don't last very long. Some people swear by them, but one of the things that I struggle with is finding a serum foundation, a cushion compact that comes in my undertones and overtones because I'm a golden olive. I know there's the tier one, but I'm not going to spend my money on something when I have beautiful products. Honestly, I can get the same effects mixing a little bit of this with a little bit of that. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm golden. I'm Gucci. I don't need to try new products because I already know what works for me. Those foundations are very sheer. They're very serum-y. That's beautiful. If you want a serum-y foundation, you want something that's very lightweight and serum oriented, you can find this at Walmart. You don't have to go searching for the perfect shade. They have it already. CoverGirl, there you go. My goal for this video and bringing up the compact foundations is to remind you that makeup is fun. It does not have to be a struggle, although it is going to require a learning curve. And fundamentally, what we want to do is create an environment where we feel good about ourselves and we're not struggling so much to find the products that work for us, because we can have assistants at makeup counters, the Lancome counter, the MAC counter, or if you find a quiet time at Sephora or Ulta, you know, if you find a moment of peace and quiet in those stores where you feel like the makeup people can help you a little better, go for it. Go for it. Um, but I have found compact foundations, those cushion foundations, to be very much overpriced. And I'm not a fan of guessing what color is going to be best for me and have it shipped from Korea, you know, to just discover at home, like, this doesn't work for me. Plus, it's overpriced. Personally, I also don't like the hygiene concept of them because you have to dip into the pad, and you have to flip the sponge, and honestly, that's a little bit too much work for me. So I have found instead that the products that I've showed you work really well, and I hope that you can find some skin products for yourself that work well for you. I look forward to hearing from your comments, how these videos have helped you, and you know, if there's any improvements that I can make in this journey and this series to building a video encyclopedia of common cosmetics and how they are used. Please let me know, because I live for your feedback. It's been really great hanging out with you and teaching you today. My name is Esme Leilani, but you can call me Ozzy, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye!